Hello and welcome back to episode 10 of our Timberborn Folktails Cliffside playthrough. Um, Today we are going to discuss the overall plan, where I think I want this to go. I did have a suggestion that under here we could build basically a cave system, and that'll be the living space for our beavers. And I really liked that idea. So I think eventually we're going to move the housing, some food and water storage and like recreation buildings like campfires and stuff under there, and it'll be just a underground after work hours beaver hangout. I think that'll be the direction we'll go for that area, kind of like an end game goal. um we're going to continue just expanding and getting more production going so that we can get a bigger workforce and a happier workforce to work towards that. So I do want to utilize some of this area too. I think at the end, maybe some of this section will be a um maybe some underground farms, tree farms or food farms, and kind of our industrial sector generally being over off in this corner. That's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment, and we'll just keep at it, expanding our production, expanding our reservoir. I do think the reservoir is probably going to end up going about to here, and then we'll build it up to um, the ceiling. Well, pretty high up at least. Okay, so one of the things we wanted to do during the next drought, which has started, the drought has started, was to automate our bad water diversion system. So we are going to do that. So sorry the camera's going kind of crazy here. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. I think we'll just start by deleting this. And we can put a sluice there instead. Go in that direction. Excellent. And then, oh, we don't even technically need to replace that levee, but I think I will just because of aesthetics right now. We won't need this floodgate anymore. And we can then, let's see how, so we got a flow of, I forget how much flow we had here. Let's go into depth mode. So of 5. So edges we need are 3 if we're going from the top. So this doesn't actually, this isn't falling down at all, so it's not limited by the waterfall limit of 2.2 per edge. Instead it's limited by the 6 CMS flow through a single tile. So for this section, how do I want to do this? Well, it's gonna be a waterfall, so we want 3 edges. So I think the by far the easiest and simplest way, delete those. And then we could just put 3 sluices up here. Now that does limit us that we can't get this water out, but honestly, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a huge amount of water that's gonna matter too terribly much for us. Let's go ahead and put sluices right there like that. We'll put these ones on lower priority to make sure they finish this one first. And they get up here so quick with that zip line, so that is excellent. Oh, and they built that dynamite over there while they had access to it. That's great. All right, so for the sluice settings, this one we just want it close when the contamination is below 1. So if it's 1 or higher, this is going to be open. If the water that touches it is 1 or higher. For these, we're going to have close above a contamination of 0. Otherwise, they can be open. Yeah. We can blow that up because why not? Okay. So we're going to keep just kind of increasing our power production, our industrial sector, just generally progressing in the game until we get to a good point that we can kind of start moving the lodges and stuff underground. We don't even have access quite yet to tunnels, which we will need to perform this, and I would also want to have the dirt excavator up and running as well for that. I think what might be good would be to actually get a dirt excavator over here, and then we can kind of pump from that area. Like have that be where our water pump will eventually draw a lot of water from. Just a whole deep water tank there to pump from. Oop. No, I don't want to unlock that quite yet. Okay. But to do that, we don't really have the area for that with this bridge. We could always just, let's see, relocate that a little bit. Or, you know what, we could just have the dirt excavator going over here initially, and then when we're ready, we could move water pumps there to help take that area. So that'll be fine too. I'm not terribly worried about it. I just would like to get a stockpile of dirt, because with some of the plans I have for vertical farming and such, we're going to want a lot of dirt for our terrain blocks. But I'm also aware of the fact that this dirt excavator is going to take more power, and it's going to injure a lot more beavers too. We are out of power. Interesting. We definitely need to work on expanding this. We do have paper now, so maybe that would make it a good opportunity to upgrade to these large windmills instead. They take 30 paper each. We have 20. I think it's time to make a storage for paper. Another thing I realized, we don't have large warehouses yet. These only hold 200, where for a 3x3 that's also too high, you can then store 1,000. We're going to unlock those and get proper storage going here. We don't need a whole 3x3,000 storage just for paper by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still nice to have those unlocked. Maybe for things such as gears. That would be good. And eventually food. Having all that food stored up will also be really nice to have. Large warehouse. We can put that there. Then maybe we have that be our warehouse for wheat. And we can just store, obtain, and instead of storing wheat there, we can store the paper. I think that makes a lot more sense. Let's see, how are we doing on workforce? Still have 4 empty jobs. I bet they're in the hauling post. They are. It's a time to build more houses. Very well might be. These triple lodges do take up more room. Left and right. They're, instead of being, excuse me, 2x2, and then by 2, it's 2x3x2, 2 up. Which is kind of nice because no matter where in the lodge they are, as long as they're getting one of the corners touching for these aesthetics, the whole lodge gets the bonus while they're sleeping. So that's an added benefit to having the larger lodges. But for the purpose of just stacking them on top of each other right now, I think it's still double lodge time. Let's go ahead and delete this roof in order to put another double lodge up there. Oh, we cannot put a double lodge up there without it hitting that zip line. Interesting. Can we do a single lodge? I guess we're going to do a single lodge there for now. We can put that roof back on. Where was that? Well, be aesthetics, decoration. Well, since we can't go any higher there, can we do that one? No, we can't. Won't even... We can do the 2x2 if we wanted to look fancy. I don't know if that really looks all that fancy with us not being able to go into this corner. So we'll just grab the 1x1 there again. And I also wanted to unlock scarecrows now that we have paper going. Put a scarecrow there. And one right there. Should be able to reach that, I think. Still no power. We're probably going to... Well, one thing that we definitely want to do is start expanding how far down this can go. So once these are up, I think we can build dynamite below them. That'll be very useful to let them go even that little bit further down. We might even consider building some more over here and then letting them drop down. This will not be our final industrial sector. I am thinking over here we'll build a nice structure for it, keep it nice and organized. That is quite a ways in the future yet. Let's unpause that paper mill actually, because we are doing stuff with the paper now. So I would like to be producing more. We also had a comment that I marked one of my maple trees for cutting. And I'm guessing it's this little tiny one that's been cut and is regrowing. Indeed it is. Let's save that maple tree. It's for syrup, not for cutting. I don't think we need to increase our pine resin production that much, but what I do think we could do is switch over these pines to oaks. Or maybe we, yeah, I think we switch those. Since we have a gatherer flag here anyway for these dandelions, let's switch these pines to chestnut trees. Well, we can start getting some chestnuts too. Similar to maples and pines, when they are fully grown, they then produce something every, well, in this case, every 8 days, they'll produce 3 chestnuts that we can then roast or grilled and have grilled chestnuts. How close are these trees to being done? They're not. They don't take all that long to grow, so I will just unmark them for cutting so that we can replace those with chestnut trees. All right, and with this underground pile, we have so much more log storage, it's not even funny, to be honest. Keeping up with our potatoes. We don't have much for wheat flour storage. Okay. Well, be just silly not to have more. Let's fix that. Boom. And wheat flour. We have emptied this entirely, so now I could, if I wanted to, which I do want to, let's open that for a little bit and close it. Maybe I opened that for too long. And get some more water down there. We could set this to close when the depth here is like, if there's anything there. If there's 0.0, if there's anything at all, this will close. Actually, does it work like that? Okay, it's closed now. But this is increasing our evaporation quite a bit. Okay, no, so we would need to have it at the 0.5. But yeah, that would increase our evaporation quite a bit. We don't need water all the way here this whole time. So we'll just manually do this for now. Oh, I opened it. We gotta close it again. Hopefully we don't end up overflowing here. We didn't. Okay. Let's see. What else can we keep working on? I would really like... Let me just double check that this looks good. It does. These should only close when it's above contamination 0. So even if it's 1%, it's closed. If it's below 1%, this is closed. Okay, and it is closed now as it should be. Okay. Just double checking that. I would like to get centrifuges going here. No, I'm thinking too far ahead. We need to get more power. That's why we built the storage for paper. We need large windmills. We just don't have the power for this currently. Large windmills take up the same amount of space. They do. I think they just take up one higher. But I think left and right, they are the same. But they can generate a lot more power. Yep, excellent. So especially while these windmills aren't spinning, we can get more power going there. Nothing to do in range. Oh, this scrap gatherer is all done. We can delete him. We should figure out a good way to get up here. And I think the way to get up there is going to be... Well, we already have access to this slope. So... Let me just think for a second. Not really a whole lot of room for a zipline station up here. But there could be. All we need is another... Actually, just like that should be enough. Because they should be able to reach it, and then we can connect it to that zip line. Yeah, that should do it just fine. And now we can put a scrap gatherer flag up there. As soon as I remember where it's at, it's under metal. Excellent. Yeah, we can even give them a little warehouse, a small pile here. Which can be supply, scrap. All right. Actually, while we got this available, I think I'm going to level out this whole area up here. Okay. Because then that just gives us more planting room up here. All right. Some of these trees have been cut down. We will mark them for replanting with chestnuts. 90% of the time right now, this gatherer flag is not doing anything. It's just there for dandelions, basically. So until those chestnut trees grow up, I'm going to pause it because we already have... where are they? We are pretty much nearly full on dandelions. We have pumped out all that water again. How much we got left in that reservoir? Oh, plenty. Let's just open that again for a bit. Close it. Cool. Yeah, we can even open it more. We can fill up this a little bit more than that. Okay, that's draining quite a bit, so we're just waiting for it to fill up from this side. Yeah, that's probably enough. If I shut that off at the right time, this won't overflow. Actually, I should have shut it off before it filled up this section, because that's just a lot more evaporation loss. Oh well, we're not in a crunch for water. Why are these not being chopped? Are they not marked? All right, so somebody noticed I had this marked for cutting, but nobody told me that these weren't marked for cutting. Yeah, I'm just deflecting blame. That's my bad, not anybody else's. Thank you guys for watching out for me with having maple trees marked for cutting. It's not what we wanted to do there. Maple trees aren't bad for wood. They're just not as good as oaks. For just 2 more days, you can get 2 more logs. Seems kind of... The math says they're second best, but to get the best is just 2 more days. It'd be... I couldn't imagine a situation I want to cut maples for wood. Unless I was using them for wood and then all of a sudden I wanted to... Okay, now I'll unmark them for cutting. So I didn't have to like replant, I guess. Kind of like what I did for these pines. I was using them for wood and then I was like, you know what? Let's stop cutting them so we can get sap out of them. Wait. I didn't accidentally plant more maples here, did I? No, I didn't. Good. So one of these chestnuts. To me, the chestnut leaf and the maple leaf look pretty similar. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Planting trees. Chestnuts. Okay. Let's see. This is ready to blow up. Boom. Cool. There we go. How far are we from getting... We're actually running out of bad water right now. We don't have any in storage, which means we're not producing any more explosives. Drought is over soon, though. So maybe that's not a huge deal for us. Hey, that windmill just stopped spinning, so it gets deleted to be replaced with a large one. We're going to replace all 3 of these. They're not spinning right now anyway. There we go. While we're doing this, periodically plant more chestnut trees here. And look, we got this zip line up and running, and beaver gathering scrap. The hauler should be supplying it from there, bringing it over. Where's our other scrap storage? We just got this small one here. We got this larger one up here too, but it's also just kind of a supply one. Which means maybe we could use more storage down here by our smelter. I forget what was here that made this path so winding, but we really don't need it that way. That shortens it just like that. It's not a whole lot more scrap storage, but we could put one there. Actually, I'm going to do a small warehouse for the pine resin and get it out of this one so that we can access below this gravity battery and make it deeper. Then we can put the scrap pile there. Scrap, obtain, pine, resin, obtain. Okay. Large windmills are built. Bad water is flowing slowly. slowly because this pump is taking a lot of the flow out of there. Okay. So we have bad water again, so we'll keep getting explosives now. Now, why can't they? Aha. So what you gotta watch for on these ladders sometimes is you gotta click that there's supposed to be a road up there. Otherwise, they won't get off the ladder. So we can keep expanding the reservoir with our explosives. That should do good. Honestly, we should probably be knocking out one of these layers too. It's just a matter of how to get up there. Well, it's pretty obvious how we could get up there, I guess. It's a lot of stairs. But we're not on a resource crunch at all. I know it's kind of silly to build this for just the couple of trees, but you know what? Why not? They're there. If we had built the lumberjack flag here, he'd be blocking the path to this birch. Oh man, and there's all of these still over here we could cut, but we're doing absolutely fine on logs. More chestnut trees coming in. Let's get ready to move that forester. I talked about moving it over there, and there's really no reason not to. Just as a more space efficient spot. Just make sure. Oh, the reason would be he then can't reach a lot of this stuff. So we don't have a forester up there. But we could instead have. Let me think about that. If we unmark this one, we could make a spot to store, say, chestnuts, possibly. So I will unmark this one for planting. And I guess it depends. We don't even need to. If we want a large storage, we will need to delete this one and unmark these as well. Just to be able to access the door. Sure. We got, like I just said, how much how good we were doing on wood. Although these two are a lot further than that other one, so I will just delete these. There we go. Platforms. We don't need this path up here. Yeah, our forester wouldn't be able to reach all of these logs if we moved it. I didn't think there was that big of a difference, but I suppose since they can't get through this corner here, to get over this direction, they would have to walk all the way over here first, so that really limits their range. It makes sense after I looked at it more. Okay, it's gonna bug me if two of these are oaks. Same over here. So we're gonna unmark those for planting so that they can become chestnuts and maples. Not that we need a whole lot more maples. Actually, we are running out of maple syrup, so we kind of do. Let's see, that was a drought. Nothing for this guy to do. Delete him. And we can start expanding our reservoir in that direction. Hey, with that, they were able to get down there. I don't know why, but the explosions are just so satisfying in this game. This really scratches an itch, you know? And those explosions caused a little bit of flooding. Not a big deal. We're okay. All right. So, these gravity batteries are up high. Let's take advantage of that fact. And blow up that area. Our flooding's going all the way here. That's all from the wave of exploding here. Kind of just propagated down. There, that's our word for the day. Propagate. You know, we did not get a whole lot of bad water stored up with this one pump. The drought's coming in 2 days. One thing I do like, we did get our number of injured beavers a lot more under control. Since the last episode, we were starting to get quite a bit, so we built excess medical beds to help with that. And it has done its job. Let's see. Scarecrows have helped out getting our well-being up. What are we not getting enough? We're not getting enough wet fur. Well, that's just not acceptable. Here. We're going to set up a line of shower stations here. No, we're not. That will be a great place for a Lido. That's what I meant the entire time, not showers. Come on, guys. Why would we do that? That's a Lido location if I've ever seen one. So the Lido will give them fun from just relaxing in the water and also give them wet fur. So it's doubling up the use of the showers. Doubling it up with something else. What else aren't we getting enough of? Lacking a little campfire, some contemplation spots. And that's about it at the moment. Maybe we put down another campfire, huh? We can't. Not right there anyway. Would be a silly path to get there, but we could do it right there. It'll work. Maybe we could put more contemplation spots right here while we're at it. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. Interesting. We have this lone oak still over here. The drought has started. We have 3,500 water stored up. Still only about 1,000 food, but a lot of that's because we don't have much more storage for food at the moment. We are full on carrots, full on grilled potatoes. We just don't we don't have that many crops planted because we don't have all that many beavers right now that need to eat all that food. There we go. The only thing we're running out of sometimes is sunflowers because they don't produce a whole lot. And even then, all of our beavers have the sunflower seed buff. This building's not connected to anything. Well, I guess not. It's also facing a weird way. After we deleted that, this seems like it's facing a strange way. That won't be there permanently. We just don't have much other storage for scrap at the moment, so I'm going to keep it. I do want to plant some more sunflowers because why not? Give these beavers something to do over here. All right. How are our chestnuts looking? Or anything looking? Nothing is looking at all. Let's see, can build that. This is overkill for a large warehouse here. I was getting nervous that maybe that zip line would be in the way. It honestly might be silly to put chestnuts in there. It might make more sense to have this now be our pine resin and this go to chestnuts. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Look at those hollers just move all that over instantaneously. Okay. So we kind of got distracted. We probably should have built out this deepened our reservoir more during that last drought, but it will be just fine. We'll still get it done. We still got lots of water there. Everything's looking pretty good, I think. I'm debating if we even need these dandelions right now, because we're full up on dandelions. Actually, we're not. Why aren't these being harvested? Because I have this gatherer flake paused. Let's unpause that just to have him grab those dandelions real quick. Okay. Beaver with a broken tooth. They fixed it. Good. A lot of our windmills have been switched out. I think I did that wrong. I definitely did that wrong. I should have focused on the one that they wouldn't be able to get first. So now we're going to need some platforms to undo it. We got to make this side deeper because actually not on this one. They can go under. But with this one that's being blocked by this small pile, unless we just delete the pile. But for now, we can just keep blowing up this one side, and then we'll blow up the other side. And this is just allowing our gravity batteries to store more energy. And that's the bottom of the map. Bottom of the map. Delete that. Tell them to pick up those planks. We got no storage for planks? No storage for planks. No storage for logs. Interesting. I really kind of boxed this area out, which is honestly not ideal, but maybe for now. We have this area up here be some more underground piles. Something like that. And honestly, only this one is really growing consistently. So we can just mark those for deletion too. And even build another one. This is just kind of overflow storage because I just want a little more storage, I guess. Planks can go there. Why not scrap? And then logs again, question mark? Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so where was that other? That's where we deleted that platform. That's where we need to build the dynamite to make that deeper. One thing I haven't shown is the layer tool, where we can peel back layers in order to build stuff that's hard to reach or see. So when we're making our underground habitat for the beavers, over here, that will be very handy. pretty long drought this time. I'm still not worried about water. We have so much water stored up for our amount of beavers. Food is fine. It hasn't really been going down. The only reason we don't have more food is because we didn't have more food storage for the longest time. Once we want to be building bots, they have a certain lifespan before they break down, and they require a lot of wood to build. So to keep your population steady, they need a steady supply of wood. So that's why the tree farms will come in handy. And especially if we want to give them punch cards made from paper. That's all made from log products too, so that's going to require even more wood. So it definitely never hurts to have a stockpile of wood, especially if we start really building a lot with levees. We can eat through it quite a bit. Okay. We are 40 minutes into this video already. So I think maybe at the end of this drought, it's going to be a decent place to stop. I'm going to try to keep it at 3 times that whole time. No good selected. You're right. Could I use more I don't have much for treated plank storage. Let's get another one of those. It's probably overkill for treated planks, but one thing you guys might have noticed is there's only so many ruins on the map to get scrap from, but also with that there are these underground ruins, which are infinite source of ruins. They just take of scrap, infinite source of scrap. It's just they consume treated planks. So in order late game to keep getting more metal blocks, you have to consume treated planks, which really only need wood and pine resin to make. So that's another reason for your tree farms to keep expanding. Because eventually your tree farms become a source of metal in the end too. Is there only the one ruin on this map? I think so. Some of the larger maps have 2 or 3. But that's the only underground ruin. That's plenty for this map, honestly, this being the second smallest map in the game. So this gravity battery can only go as far as this block. This one can go further, and that's why 16,000 potential HPH, 22,000. We blow this up and it's going to go up by 2,000. Oh, yeah, it went up by 2,000. My math was just struggling there for a second. So this is going to only go down one more layer, which makes sense because then we're at the bottom of the map. We have 17k science, guys. We have so much more science than what we need. Love to see it, actually. There are additional decorative things you can do, but they don't add an aesthetic bonus at all. Hedges, I'm really surprised the hedge doesn't provide the same bonus as the shrub. I honestly think it should. I don't think they should stack, but just if you want a different look on your city instead of the shrubs, I think that would be cool. So wooden fences that don't do anything besides aesthetics. Wind gauge, which tells how strong the wind's blowing, which, you know what, your windmills do that too. Bulletin pull is actually useful. It does provide an aesthetic bonus, so maybe we should unlock that and build it too. It's really not any reason not to. It can go right there. Then it will reach most of them. Can they reach that one? They can't. But do you know what how we could make it so they can reach it? I would have to delete that path temporarily, which actually is no problem. We even build just a 2x2 suspension bridge here. They'll be able to even the 1x one would have done it, actually. Because from this corner, they should have been able to build here. Build there, so... But, there. Once that's built, we can delete this and restore that path so we don't have this kind of, honestly, terrible pathing. It's built. Delete the bridge. Redo the pathing. And while it's not hurting anything to have those multiple path options, the only thing it is hurting is possibly my computer's computing power. So we might get frame rate drops. We want to keep the paths kind of cleaned up. Let's see. What else can we be working on right now? We're just kind of keeping up, expanding this reservoir. I know probably not the most exciting gameplay footage. I apologize for that. But I'm also trying to brainstorm where we want to go next with everything. I think since we have zip lines, we can get to this area of the map a lot more reasonably now. So I am debating getting some aquatic farms going over here, but to do that, we will need to cap off this bad water source, which means our water wheels won't help out anymore if we do that. 200 treated planks and 400 gears. That is a lot. And can't forget the 150 metal blocks. That is a lot. It's not more than what we can handle. I just realized that we don't have the gear storage to have a lot more gears at the moment. And later on, we might want more gears, especially for the bots. The limbs take 2 gears each. And the head takes 3. The limbs take 3 gears each, and the head takes 3 gears. And you need 4 limbs, 2 arms, 2 legs to make a beaver bot. So that means each beaver bot does require 12 gears. So we might want some more storage for gears here in the not so distant future. It's just where to put it. That is the question constantly. I think for now we can just build on top of this other large warehouse that we have. Because remember, gears go in the warehouses, not the piles. Gears. So now this is full on dandelion storage. So I don't think we need to grow those dandelions anymore necessarily. They're not hurting anything, but they're not really helping either. More maple trees. Wait a minute. I'm going to get yelled at. Our chestnut trees were marked for cutting. Let's undo that. There we go. I was wondering why we weren't getting any chestnuts quite yet. Well, it's because we've been cutting down the trees. It's not helpful. And this maple we just planted, we can unmark too. I've been kind of sloppy on the... What needs water? Oh, you're not high enough. Is this empty? No. We just need to tell this to let more water in so that the Lido can be used. I'm not sure what height the Lido needs. Let's try 0.7 and see if it gets happier than at all. This is empty. Let's pause the water pump. It seems like 0.7 is not enough. You know what? Actually, I think I know the issue. I think, yeah, since this was too high, it needs to be above 1. That's what it needs. So if we want that to work, we're actually going to have to build... This would have to be a sluice gate. Otherwise, we can't automate this to be high enough for the Lido. Yeah. So that's why that maybe should have been showers, because showers can reach down 3. I told you guys that should have been showers. Okay. So, I really don't. We still have a lot of water there. I don't want to delete this right now to make room for 2 high sluices to make that work. Maybe. This might be a crazy plan. Can we just build it up like that, guys? I mean, I know the answer is yes, of course we can. It's just whether or not it's going to be a bad idea. I don't think it's a terrible idea. Maybe not a great idea. But it will work. We still have 6 days left of this drought. I don't know why I was clicking so much there. These top 3 we do want to be dams. That's actually then... If we're going to do that, I feel like we should blow this up so if the water flows off the side here, it'll go down into the water, into the river. Yeah. How can we get that building to go smoother? Bridges would certainly be one way from here. But then we would need to build a platform. So why don't we switch it up with some overhangs? I haven't shown these yet. They are solid, unlike bridges, so you can actually, say, build it like this, and then build stuff on top of it, which is pretty nice. Other things you can use to build on top of things are these metal platforms that just need support right in the middle. So you could combine, say, one of these overhangs with a metal platform. Whoa, camera got a little funky there. Build something up there. So that's definitely an option. We'll probably be utilizing that some. But I think we're going to build that metal platform. And then another one. And then we don't need to actually reach down to put anything on the ground level. So we're really defying physics here. It's extremely top heavy. But it's a way to build without having to keep building these platforms for the bridges. So if we then tell them to prioritize this, we can be building a whole lot of the of this new dam section. You know what? This one really, if we're planning on just always having this be high enough for the Lido, this one really didn't need to be a sluice. It was just kind of a mistake on my part, I guess. Have we ran out of dynamite? We have. Okay, let's actually... Funny that we can demolish this dynamite to get 2 explosives back. But we ran out because we don't have bad water. We don't have bad water because it's a drought, and we don't have the bad water rig up and running there yet. Which, honestly, we can start building. Where do we want the entrance to this? I think if we replace this spot with a ladder, it will serve as a way to cross here and a way to enter the bad water rig. So I'm going to have the entrance right there. 4,000 science? Sure. Why not? We actually have unemployed beavers. That is nearly unheard of in our colony. We don't really have much for them to do, to be perfectly honest. We could maybe put another one in here. That's fine. That's a good problem to have at this point. We have the resources to feed and water our beavers. So having them not have jobs is perfectly okay. Come on, collect these explosives so you can put them down here. Please and thank you. They can't pick up the debris and put it right into a new building spot. It needs to go into a storage first. For whatever reason. That's just how the programming works. Okay, we can blow up those two. That should be fine. I was going to say maybe we should have put another one here, but I don't think they can reach that one unless they can go through some of those berries. Do berries block walking? I'm not sure. I don't think so, actually. Just like trees don't. So they might be able to still reach that. Oh, come on, guys. You need to build that stair so you can walk across here. It would also be a lot quicker if I built a log storage up here. Or just even this one, told them to obtain. Yeah, so now my builders can just go up there and my haulers can fill that up. And this will speed up dramatically. Look at that. Beaver ingenuity. Love to see it. Building lacks workers. Okay, yeah. Well, that's fine. Here are the inventor hut. That's just for overflow workers. Building needs water. Yeah, we're addressing that. Lacks materials. Explosives factory lacks materials. Of course it does. We don't have any bad water. Everything we already knew. We can now replant chestnut trees here, maple trees here, and you guys are going to be amazed. I'm not going to forget to unmark them for cutting. It's okay. Hold your applause. Will this be done before the drought is over? Yeah. Not that it was a rush to necessarily need to be. That's going to be nice. It was nice that I got to demonstrate this overhang building technique. It is a lot more costly to build the overhangs than it is bridges. And they force you to continuously go up each level. So if you're trying to build something at the very tippy top of the map, this method does not work. But I do like not having to build the platforms, because this is going to be in the way if we were trying to build something. Like, for example, right here, we're not able to explode that area because we got the platform in the way. Now, once this is all done, we can delete, say, this bridge and then delete the platforms. And from this bridge, they can just continue building. But until then, that's in the way. This doesn't put anything on the ground floor as you're trying to build. It looks wonky. This would 100% just fall over. But, you know, the water physics aren't exactly perfect in this game either, and neither are just the gravity physics. I suppose gravity physics and water physics are pretty closely related, actually. Yeah, we are going through that maple syrup extremely quickly. Oh yeah, they don't have the wet fur. Even less access to contemplation spots. Maybe we're just working too many hours in a day. Hey, that's all done building. Which means we can go ahead and delete this section to let water flow in there. Also, with this rubble, they can only pick it up if it's straight down below. But a method to move it around, you can build whatever you want. Common things to build below it are like power shafts, because they, so you can say, hey, look, we don't want you going that way. And I'm going to scoot it over so they can pick it up from that overhang. So now they'll be able to reach those 252 logs. Before they invest logs into these power shafts, you can just delete them. Other things that could work to build there could be, I mean, you could technically do piles, but why would you? You could do levees. Levees would be a perfectly fine thing to lay down, or dams, and then just delete. I like to do power shafts simply because if you do mess up and they start building it, it's only one log. So now they'll be able to reach that. And all of these, strangely enough, it is the builders that grab the rubble, not the haulers. I think it would make a lot more sense for that to be a hauling job, but that's how the game is programmed at the moment. So, we did expand this and it looks a little funny, but I kind of like the design of that. We're just going to keep this one always closed probably and say this one opens if the downstream depth is, above 1.4. So that'll keep that Lido in use. Give me more beavers wet fur bonus and the fun of the Lido. Now I do want to check if this is having any issues with flooding because of the new arrangement. I don't think so. I think all that flooding is just because of the sudden intake of water. Maybe there is a little flooding. Yeah, why is it doing that? I guess this is the first time we really had this all so high. So maybe that's too high. Maybe we lower that to 1.8. Now I like to have the things downstream always just a hair lower. Maybe if we give the water another path down that way, maybe that'll make it happier too. Okay, it is an hour-long video. That drought is over. It is time to end this, I think. If you watched to the end, thank you so much. Thank you for sticking with me on this series. I do think one of our endgame goals is to create a beaver cave sanctuary. I think that's a cool little project, but I also want to really min-max this space with some vertical farms and dedicated industrial sector that's a little more neat than this. So we're just going to keep trucking down that road, keep advancing our technology tree, expanding our production chains, and then eventually we will terraform and make a beaver cave paradise. All right, thanks again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.